Hey, how's it going, everyone? My name is Justin Wu, and my topic question is funding for ITS related projects justified. So, to begin, kind of giving a quick background on ITS and where it originated from. Um, Wanted to talk about some of the initial challenges. And so, there's two main categories: just operational challenges and safety challenges. Um, so, just as an example, drivers in New York lose roughly 102 hours per year, costing the city over $9.1 billion due to congestion, which just goes to show how much congestion and operational issues there are in many of the cities. This is the case for areas like London, New England, Washington D.C. It might not be to this magnitude that New York City is at, but there's hours and hours and billions of dollars lost due to congestion. And moving on to safety, there's more than 2 million traffic accidents. And specifically from 2005 2007, 94 of them were caused by human error. So this just goes to show that even today there's still millions of accidents that occur each year. Um, and you know especially before ITS was as big as it is now, a lot of those accidents were caused from human error. And so going into the introduction of ITS and where it started really, the first ever um, traffic signal basically was created in 1868. It was basically just a red and green light being manually lit in London, England, as you can see in this first image. Um, and fast forward a little bit to the 1990s, we have electronic tolling systems that are being introduced. These are very common in Northern Virginia and other places. There's different types of tolling. There's dynamic tolling, but became electronic tolling at least became was introduced and became popular in the 1990s. And then now, as you guys know, we have self-driving autonomous vehicles that are becoming more and more popular. I know Tesla has their self-driving interface system. And then there's also, I don't know if you guys have heard, but the Waymo vehicles that are being used around the US now and around the world. Those are self driving, basically Uber systems or Lyft. Um, and so moving on to the benefits of ITS. So, after a lot of these are implemented, we've seen a 67% reduction in red light violations in cities in Maryland, New York, and Michigan. Um, just goes to show the safety aspect of how ITS has improved and benefited our transportation systems. We've seen a 13% decrease in fuel consumption and 14% decrease in emissions in California. So on top of safety, we can see that overall it's causing less pollution and being better for our environment. Um, and additionally, there is a massive ITS project in Qatar that was implemented, and it addressed safety issues using automated incident detection, as well as vehicle location and preemption devices, which are all used to improve accident response time. So basically, just to go into a little detail on what some of this stuff is, automatic incident detection and vehicle location basically is a system that makes it easier to locate where accidents occur. Um, and then the preemption devices is basically shown in this picture here, where um, you know emergency vehicles can control traffic lights so that they get the green time when they're approaching intersections, and this ultimately makes and allows for emergency vehicles and first responders to get to these accident sites quicker, and allows them to treat anyone that's injured much more quickly. So some more benefits of ITS. There's the bike sharing program. If you guys have been to DC or nearby, I'm sure you guys are aware of the Capital Bike Share. It's very popular in DC. Um, so the bike sharing program, it was basically an installation of 450 stations and 4,000 bicycles in Washington D.C., as well as Arlington County, Virginia. Um, this approximately $2 million in transportation savings was a result of this program, and also approximately 14 million calories were burned by users. Um, which just goes to show the impact that bike sharing and ITS in general has not only on cost savings but also on the health of users. So some more benefits of ITS. We have a crash avoidance system, as you can see here to our right. Um, Goes into depth a little bit about forward collision warning, lane departure warning, blind spot warning, which are all features added to vehicles that better alert the drivers. Um, and a benefit cost analysis was done to assess, the effectiveness of this crash avoidance system, and this was worldwide. And the lower bound benefit, meaning worst case, um, there was still a net benefit of 4 billion, um, which is roughly $20 per vehicle. And for the upper bound benefit, there was a roughly $202 billion benefit, which is around $816 per vehicle. Um, so as you can see here, like lots of cost savings are a result of ITS. And not only that, these cost savings are because of the safety issues that ITS addresses. With these, um, you know, crash avoidance systems and extra warnings that help drivers, um, see things that they may not be able to easily or clearly see, such as a blind spot warning, example. And now we are moving on to some of the challenges of ITS. Um, so my paper critique was on this specific project, so I won't go too in depth. But I'll give a general background of it. Where there was basically a case study and a project done in New York that tested an adaptive signal control system, and that adaptive signal control system was called ACS Lite. And after conducting the experiment and the study, a benefit cost analysis was conducted as well, and it showed a net loss of approximately $1,220 per day. Um, and also, based off of the results, the overall congestion did not improve. It improved at the intersections within the study corridor, but at the boundary intersections, it got significantly worse. So what we saw was that, what was happening was the congestion was basically just being pushed to the outskirts of the study area, which was the boundary intersections. Um, and that doesn't really solve the issue of congestion. It just moves it somewhere else, right? Um, and so that's reflected in the cost, which just goes to show that like the importance of testing the ITS devices, because they might not be at a level where they are ready to be implemented in all areas. I know ACS Lite has been implemented in other states where it's been successful, but it really depends on the project site and where it's being implemented, because all roadways are different. Um, so it might need further tweaking in certain areas to make sure that it's an effective idea. So moving on to some additional challenges of ITS, we have some app-based ride services, which are your Lyfts, your Ubers, and this is specifically in the city of New York. It has generated approximately 31 million trips and transported 52 million passengers. So people are using these apps and getting rides from Ubers and Lyfts instead of traditional taxis. Um, and this might be a benefit, because it shows the advancement of ITS, but you know it's actually also contributed to increased congestion and vehicle mileage because in some cases, travelers are choosing transportation network companies over public transit. So, instead of taking the subway, they're now actually taking, um, you know, they're on the roads using vehicles, which contributes to more congestion and higher vehicle mileage. So, probably the biggest challenge of ITS currently is the cybersecurity challenges. And as technology is getting more advanced, there's a major cybersecurity challenge that comes with that. So traffic signals now can actually be disabled remotely using infrared transmitters. Also, systems are also more susceptible to jamming attacks, which can disable ITS devices. Things like DDoS and VANET MITM attacks can be used to create fake identities or vehicle information that can lead to congestion or crashes. And the worst thing is, all these cybersecurity attacks are super difficult to detect. So even as of right now, no, we haven't been able to control um, any of or a lot of these cybersecurity attacks, which makes it super dangerous because these can cause fatalities and really cause major impacts to current roadway systems or the the operations of current traffic signals. So on top of doing some research on the benefits and challenges of ITS so far, I also got the chance to speak with um, some of the industry professionals. One of them being Glenn Havanovisky. Glenn has over 40 years of experience in smart mobility systems in the United States and internationally, mostly on the consulting side. So he works directly for the state DOTs and whatnot. Um, So after speaking with him, I noted two challenges that he mentioned that are currently being faced in the ITS world, and it is one of them being the rapid pace of technological change. And this is because devices are becoming obsolete so quickly, and this makes it also difficult for project estimation. And this is typically because technology is advancing so fast that there's always new technology being built or upgraded. And so, the process of getting technology approved, and implemented in the transportation world, once they actually go through the whole process, there might be a new technology equipment that's out that's, even better. And it causes, the old one to be basically useless at that point. And so that cycle continues, and it's hard to play catch up just because of the process that um, you know a lot of these technological devices have to go through to be approved. Um, and also, this makes it difficult for project estimation because a lot of these projects are years long, and when you're estimating for a project, you might estimate this device will be however much, and that might change. Because upgrades with updates to that device or completely getting rid of that device. So it definitely makes it more difficult when trying to figure out the cost of a project. In addition, another challenge he noticed was the integration of artificial intelligence, AI. Um, and he said it's mainly because of the lack of confidence currently by state DOTs and also consultants and also just users in general when it comes to AI. And he mentioned how that could hinder industry progress because if we stray away from AI, um, and other industries are using AI, in their work, it could set us behind in our transportation industry, and we'd have to play catch up, right? So when it comes to discussion of results, came to the conclusion that it is justified. Um, you know, and that is because safety is ultimately the priority, and ITS has proven to successfully reduce the number of fatalities. And this is through many ITS devices like the crash avoidance systems, better communication of incidents using devices like dynamic message signs and VSLs, which is variable speed limits. And as you can see in this photo on the right, just an example of how ITS basically communicates with one another. It's a whole process, and there's many factors that go into it, but it has proven to be beneficial, especially in the safety side. Although the operational side, there's been improvements. There can be further improvements as well, but the safety is ultimately the main goal. So in addition, the machine learning, the cybersecurity related projects should be investigated further. This is because they haven't been able to be controlled yet. Um, and again, this brings back the security aspect of it. The dangers of cybersecurity attacks pose threats to users and can cause fatalities. So, playing catch up is better than putting others' lives at risk. Even if we may fall behind in the industry, like Glenn mentioned, that's better than risking the lives of drivers just so we're not behind, basically. Because ultimately, like safety is the most important thing. And continuous exposure to self-driving vehicles and AI incorporation, assuming cybersecurity challenges are addressed or at least working towards being addressed. This will ultimately increase confidence. As people are exposed more to self-driving vehicles and they see the effectiveness and also the safety aspect of it. They'll ultimately be more confident in using a lot of these self-driving vehicles or AI related projects that from ITS devices. So funding, again, is needed to provide further evaluation, testing of current ITS systems, and this is again shown with the ACS Lite project, which has worked in other states but did not work when it was tested in Albany, New York. Um, in addition, the app-based ride services, which has its benefits, as we've shown, it's generated and millions of trips and lots of users are using the apps. But additional evaluation is needed to figure out how to reduce emissions and congestion because we don't want to um, basically have it backfire and the goal of it is not just to attract users, it's to operationally benefit these transportation systems. So that's reducing congestion and reducing emissions. Um, and this basically goes to show that these projects are beneficial because without them we wouldn't know whether or not ACS Lite would work in Albany, New York, right? Like that's needed to test those out. But further funding for these projects is also needed so we can further test these devices and these systems. Go through the changes of seeing how to improve them so we can find a way to implement them because as shown in other states they do work. We just have to tailor it towards a specific study area. Um, so yeah, that was my presentation. Please let me know if you guys have any questions. I believe there's going to be some sort of feedback option. Yeah, yeah, I appreciate you guys for listening.